Hello, welcome to Everything BS, and we have a very, very exciting episode. We're all in a great mood now.
Yeah, we're all happy.
This is RuPaul's Season 7, Episode 12, and the rest is a drag, and welcome back. We missed her last week, but we're so happy to have Amy Sulam back.
Aw, you guys are nice.
And Amy, you know, writes the Snarkology and Out and About newspaper, and you can find her on Twitter at Amy Sulam. And Instagram at snark_ology. A very special guest of ours, Miss Paige Turner, most beautiful Paige Turner, I must say.
That's sweet, thank you.
On Twitter at Paige Turner01.
That's true, because I'm number one.
That's I thought 00 would have been.
Well, there's this bitch in New York who tries to use my name, but she's old and irrelevant. So
We know whenever in New York they say Paige Turner, they mean you.
Yep.
Also, you can find Paige every Tuesday at Mad Donna's.
true story at
Co-hosting
8:30.
at 8:30, Drag Bingo. You can also read all the tea about Nashville drag in the article Nashville Untucked,
Yes.
featured in Out and About newspaper as well, and online. So let's get to it. We'll get to why we're all so excited towards the end, but before this one started, we were all said who we hoped would win and who we hoped would go home and who we thought was going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all thought Pearl was going to go, and we
we're
all
all in agreement there.
we all hoped that Kennedy would go home. Ever since she did Boy in Snatch Game,
Yep.
I've been excited for her to leave.
To me, I was excited for her to leave way before that. I never caught on to the Kennedy Davenport bandwagon, and I really think that RuPaul thought that she was going to catch on real well because they were giving her a really good edit. They were giving her wins when she didn't justify them. So I think RuPaul finally now saw the writing on the wall. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that they probably filmed 4 different versions of this episode where she sends them all home and just waited to see which one they aired, depending on.
I don't know. I like that, Brandon. I'm gonna co-sign. I think
Well,
that happens.
she's done stuff like shady shit like that in the
Yeah.
past because a lot of times you think someone's going to do well. Like she always thought that Tyra Sanchez was going to get popular because she had a kid, and it turned out that shit didn't happen. So I don't know.
You know, that was last year, or probably for a couple of years. They filmed multiple winners so that no one.
Ever since they've been doing the reunion.
Could you imagine having to keep acting like you were going home? Ginger Minge. Oh, Jesus.
Well, the first time they ever did it, they announced Chad Michaels as the winner, and Chad was the only person who had a genuine response because they thought it was real. And then she goes, "Oh, by the way, we're doing this twice again." So everyone's victory, they know it's a rehearsed. So they already know. Like, you don't know until the premiere party or like the final episode. That's when you know. When
They only started that because Raja's win was leaked after some people went to the premiere.
Everyone knew that.
So everyone knew that she won. So that's why
So
they were
that
like, "I'ma
so
flip
early
it."
on in the show, you just didn't care. You're like, Raja wins. I like Yara, but fuck it, Raja's gonna win. All right, so I want to address a few things before we go into the main episode. We didn't have you here last week, and last week there's been a lot of controversy going around with the Katya lip sync because RuPaul has addressed before that after the Mimi on First India Farrah debacle that people aren't allowed to leave the stage anymore, and we all know Kennedy Davenport did a jump split off the stage and then pretty much finished the rest of the song down there. Kennedy has gone on record in saying that she was not made aware of any rule, so maybe Rue just said that once and now it's not a thing, or is Rue just trying to get rid of Katya? It's just...
I mean, what I would ask about that is what the fuck was she doing on the ground, like, over and over several different times? Like, do you think your ponytail's whipping around because you look like you're just sucking an imaginary penis that isn't there?
But she was making eye contact at Rue.
It was not good at all. I did not enjoy that lip sync.
Well, I thought it was interesting because if you recall season 2, the only other person who's ever jumped off and did a split to the outside was Sahara Davenport. Another Davenport, rest in peace, she passed away. But she actually sent home Steven's precious Morgan McMichael's doing a similar maneuver. So that was just interesting. I don't know what's going on there.
Off topic, do you think Morgan McMichaels is attractive?
I think that her ears kind of sit off a little further than they should. I mean, if I were in drag and I was her, I would probably glue them back, pageant style. But, I mean, I think she could be cute.
What about boy form?
Exactly. Like I said, I think she could be cute.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Could be cute.
Look,
I need those ears to be a little bit pinned, though, because she reminds me of, like, one of those elves from, like...
I still support you, Morgan. Call me.
I think her teeth look.
I
like
mean,
she
I
could
love
get
her
a
too,
hysterectomy.
but still.
No.
All right, so Katya left. All the girls come back from the workroom. Katya wrote a bunch of shit on the mirror. I don't remember what any of it was. I didn't get to catch any of it. But right off the bat, I believe,
But it was in English.
yes, it was in English. Right off the bat, Ginger was immediately going for Violet. This whole episode, everyone's been attacking Violet.
I mean,
don't
let's
know
be
what's going on.
honest. This whole season, everyone's
She's
been
clearly a
attacking
threat.
Violet
Well, she's
because she
clearly
has been a
the
threat.
biggest threat.
Granted, she started off being a bitch, but I think she really showed her reason for being there very early on because she did a great job early on in the season.
All right, so RuPaul comes. Actually, not RuPaul. Michelle Visage walks in. The final episode, it's always Michelle and usually Santino who come in.
Which is RuPaul in female form.
Michelle comes in to reveal what the final challenge is going to be, which is always doing a RuPaul music video. And it's going to be Born Naked, and we've got Candace Kane coming on to teach them the choreography.
What a shocker.
Yeah, I know, right?
I did not expect that at all.
Does she do it every year? I thought
She
it was
did
a
it the
guy
last
last year.
season,
No,
did
I
she
thought
not?
it was a
They usually have that one guy.
really hot dude.
But this has been there before. I mean, if you reflect back on the seasons, we've seen her.
Yeah, we've seen her. We've seen Lucian Piani. We've seen them. It's nothing new there. But she came in and she was teaching them the shimmy move, and I thought Ginger was hilarious doing her little shimmy.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. She has a little bit more to jiggle than the other girls.
Yeah, I don't even think she was trying to shimmy.
So
That's
if
just how her
anyone
body
could
naturally
conquer the
jiggles.
shimmy, it would be Ginger.
Yeah, so Ginger was showing off her shimmy, and Violet was kind of struggling. Which apparently she's not a dancer, but she does aerial silk. So you'd think that those could correlate together, but I suppose not.
I think she's amazing. Like, I think Violet, as much as she's gotten read for her acting and whatever, like, Rue was right. Like, she's to be only 22, she's head and shoulders above everyone else in that competition.
Right.
And the only place she's going to go is up. I think being a kid who's socially awkward didn't really help her, but, you can learn to socialize. That's a learned behavior. Look how far she came in the show.
Absolutely.
You know how far she came in that video.
And she
Absolutely.
floored me in the first challenge where she did her little flip with the runway thing.
Oh,
like,
Carson.
shit all over the
crazy.
competition.
I
I'm
couldn't-
sorry, that was amazing.
Yeah, she wowed everyone there. So everyone gets to do a sit down with Rue where she eats the Tic Tacs because Rue's watching his figure, I guess. But Kennedy came in and met Rue, and right off the bat, they were giving that we got to make everybody cry moment.
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy talked about how she lost her father last year, and then she did something really unprofessional. Amy, do you want to tell us what she said?
She explained about how hard her life was because her sister was severely mentally retarded. No, ma'am. You have not been able to use that word since the 80s. I don't know if they told you in Texas,
Not
but
cool.
you can't use it. The Americans with Disabilities, the ADA, would be all over that.
And they probably are right now, all over Twitter. Like, how dare this bitch?
Yeah.
And knowing someone, you would never use that term, especially
Yeah.
if you cared so much about it. You would especially
Exactly.
never use that term.
Exactly. Families who have people in their family who are, have Down syndrome or
Mentally challenged,
any
right?
type of mental challenge. They are so careful with their language.
I think it's mental disability is the
mental disability.
PC.
Or,
Considering that she was selling herself as being so professional,
Yeah.
her verbiage was way off.
I know, and you'd think she would be more professional considering her forehead is so big. So it was giving me a little Down syndrome-ness through the whole entire series. And I mean, come on, Kennedy, get it together, girl.
She has condoned herself to being very professional, so I feel like there's a lot to be said for that. Like, that's not what that word means.
Well, I condone her for being mentally stupid for saying something so mentally retarded.
Well, we
in
condone her for
words.
leaving.
I think in that sense it's okay to say.
Absolutely.
Well, then Ginger sat down and same thing. talking about how she got abandoned by her father and doesn't really have a relationship with him. So Rue's just trying to get all the sob stories out there for all the bitter bitches. So maybe we can.
Thank God we had the tissues handy.
Violet sit down. I don't think anything happened. I don't recall what the sit down was.
No, she tried to make her be like, well, was it difficult for you as a kid?
And she was like, nope, loved it.
Like,
I was fabulous.
I had my own shoulder to cry on. Thank you very much. Like,
But I was kind of weirded out by Pearls because they were like, so you went through a lot. Yeah. And then she wouldn't tell us what she went through.
what it was.
I thought she was about to open up like,
I mean,
got
she
molested.
gave the woe as
or-
me in so many different episodes. I feel like we kind of know in a sense by now.
Let me ask you a question
Even
about
though
Pearl.
she hasn't really told
And
us.
we may get into the where they ask why they should win. Do you think Pearl really thinks Pearl can win?
No.
No,
I doubt she does.
All the
not.
judges even say, "Wow, we never thought we'd see you here."
Yeah.
She's like, "I know, right?" And it's like, you're not
I mean,
supposed to-
she looks like, no offense to anyone, but she looks like she's having an epileptic seizure every time she's starting to do her.
Oh,
her
Are you not
we're
trying
gonna talk about the lip
performances.
sync.
Are you not trying to offend Pearl or people who have epilepsy?
Both. I love you both.
Pearl offends them. Alright, back in the workroom, Ginger really started picking on Violet, talking about clearly trying to get her stressed. Like, well, it's Final Four, so if you don't do good in this acting challenge, she's like, all right, I'll pull through.
But that
Well,
comes from
you
a
should know.
competition aspect, as I see you as a threat now, even though I did in the beginning. That's why I've picked on
Ginger
you
is
so
clearly
much.
trying to get under Violet's skin because someone has to shake Violet. Because if Violet keeps going the way she's going, she's
gonna win, absolutely.
Yeah, like she's gonna win. So I guess Ginger was trying one last effort to like, come on, break down, bitch, have a breakdown. And also Kennedy and Ginger are now they call themselves the Bitter Old Lady Brigade, and they're picking on the pretty girls, they called them.
Right.
Because
Well,
they were
when
playing
you're-
dress up in the corner while the
Right.
other two were just building giant wigs. That's
But
all
when
they
you're
were
the
doing.
only 50-year-olds in the room, you kind of have to team up with each other. It's like the senior citizen brigade, in my opinion. It's like, okay, we feel like I mean, let's face it, once you hit 30, 40 in drag, that's senior citizen years for us. You know what I mean? So
I think that's just the gay world.
you're like, exactly.
Like,
You're
I hit
like
30.
over the
That's what they're
hill,
saying, pull the
so
plug.
I don't go
it's
out.
like, okay, you're over here, we're over here. 'Cause we're
I stopped
still-
going out at 30.
We're still under 30. Next year we'll be there, but then we'll join your group.
Right, yeah, you're still getting picked on and judged with the 29-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so then they started rehearsing for the video, doing the choreography and all that. Kennedy went up first and just nailed it. Just flat out nailed the dancing. We knew she would.
I think she's the only person that did.
Yeah, which was weird. I was like, okay, she's the only one that did good.
I mean,
Ginger,
let's face it. I'm not trying to pull a race card here, but she's
She's
black.
got rhythm. She's
you
got
know
rhythm.
she's going to be the better dancer. I'm sorry.
Well, Ginger came up next, and she started having a wig malfunction, but she just pulled it out, twirled it, and kept going with it, and it actually didn't
At
look
first, I
that
thought
bad.
she brought her dog to the lip sync of the video. I was like, is that a Shar-Pei? Is that a poodle? A Pomeranian? I'm confused.
Well, then, problem was, so then Pearl comes up, she immediately starts doing the weird arm flailing move, that really
What was it?
stiff.
Pearl Smash?
Pearl, that was terrible. I hope you're listening. That was a horrible.
Well, then she started having a wig malfunction, and she actually had to stop and then go take care of it instead of pulling through it like Ginger did. So
Right?
I'm a
Like,
little
do these
confused
girls not
now.
have black friends? Seriously. Have we heard of lace glue?
Yeah.
well, it was
I
all-
learned that early on in my career. You glue that bitch down and it won't come off.
Well, it was all around embarrassing because even Violet went out there, started flubbing lines, and then an earring just flies off, and
Yeah. You glue
Candace
it.
Kane is just like really. Did
I'll
too.
say this. I'm impressed at how much glue, and I mean, it must be frustrating having to get that off your ears.
I mean,
And
these
out of your hair
earrings
and-
are super glued right now. I bet you couldn't pull it off.
Ooh, I don't want to try.
It's gonna hurt later, and
Been
I may
working out,
cry
I
a
don't know,
little
it may be.
bit, but
But they're
it's worth
staying
the
on.
struggle.
They're staying on.
Well, the next thing they had to do is they had to go into the acting scene, which was kind of.
Wow, I don't know if anybody really.
I didn't enjoy
Ginger, I
anybody's
guess.
performance. It was kind of boring to me, the whole aspect.
And then they
I'm kinda
kept.
over
Well, they
it.
all kept having to swap a character because, like Ruth said, they're going to edit whoever goes home out of the final video, so everyone got to play every part.
No, I don't think that was the case. They were swapping roles because each person was playing each role. That's why in Ginger was all 3, Pearl was all 3, etc.
Well, my problem with the whole thing, Matthew Anderson's there. Why didn't he paint all these bitches? You just spent hours getting Rue together. Why can't you get these bitches together too?
Well, and here's the thing. I think you're right about the editing, maybe out of the video. And if you're going to do that, wouldn't you want to keep Kennedy as the only
I'm sorry,
person who performed?
But the Born Naked video is going to suck, really.
I mean, I would have eliminated her on that dress alone. I'm sorry. Pride, worthy or not, that was horrible.
We're going to get on that dress.
She should have gone home. That's Snatch Game. I can't get over it.
Yeah, she should have.
So, back when they're all getting ready for their final look, Candy and Ginger start coming for Violet again. That was like the 3rd or 4th time in this episode. And this time they're saying that she's not mature enough. And Kennedy went on some really long rant about maturity and condoning herself. I don't know what that I never know what she's saying.
You need to not be mentally retarded.
Yeah, I feel like you severely mentally retarded. Like, what? Like, it was just annoying.
And I condone you for being here in your condition.
Alright, so now we go to the runway. RuPaul comes out in just a standard RuPaul dress. It was red and she was blonde. That's all
I mean, it honestly reminded me of every outfit that she's ever worn before. Same silhouette. Oh, look, I'm going to wear this hair, but I'm going to pin it to the side this time.
And that was a good line you had, too, was because for the commercial break, they went and Michelle goes, she goes, I don't want to throw shade, but did you run out of outfits? And then you said, maybe that line was for Rue.
Absolutely. I feel like that line was for Rue. I love you, RuPaul, and I want you to pick me for the show. But at the same time, like, girl, is that all you got in your closet? The same little silhouette, just a different color? I feel like she has every color of the rainbow in every single dress that she's ever worn.
I wish that they would just completely cut out her little runway stomp and save that time for either longer lip syncs or more workroom drama.
But Rue needs that time. It's RuPaul's Drag Race, girl.
No.
She has to be seen as Rue on the runway. I mean, let's face it.
We've seen that same.
In that case, it would be called Drag Race. No RuPaul in there at all.
Maybe it should just be Drag Race and let Lady Bunny or somebody host, because.
Or the up-and-coming Paige Turner. She would be a great host for that show.
The one in New York?
The real Paige Turner. The real Paige Turner. The one in Nashville.
And it's going to be, there's no special judges for the final episode. It's the family judges, she said.
Oh, that was cool. It was good to have
Carson, Ross,
and Michelle.
I love Ross. I'm so glad he's on the show now.
I never liked Ross until about the 3rd episode. I was like, oh, great.
I love him.
Oh, he was
my favorite guest on Chelsea
lately.
Lately.
He's actually the nicest judge. He's the one who always, if Michelle says something, she goes, I disagree. I kind of like it. So he's the guy that's helping
He's like, no, bitch.
Alright, so now we have their runway looks, which I think is just supposed to be their best drag. I guess that's just the category. Kennedy came out in that pride dress. Stevens, you said it looked like a fish, or... Yeah,
it looked like a rainbow trout, maybe, or something like
that. It was terrible. I mean, I'm sorry you guys had to clean up my vomit in the floor because I hated that dress so much. That's not even... Kennedy, that's not even okay in a pride pageant. That was hideous.
She even said that it's a pride dress. Like... Oh,
no. I'm willing to bet you did not win evening gown in that category. I'm just saying.
I don't think I liked really any of the dresses. Maybe Ginger's.
I liked Ginger's sleeves. The fringe was a little much for me. I felt like if she walked by you, it would sweep you up inside the fringe, and you would be like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah, Ginger did come out with that white wedding dress looking.
But overall, she had the best. She had the best look.
Yeah, and I'm surprised she saved that because she's been wearing crap all season. So it's like, oh, you had one okay.
I mean, that's clearly her best thing, so she had to save it for last.
Violet came out in her little cabaret look.
I didn't like it.
Well, it was something
completely
I liked it.
Different.
I mean, just being best drag.
It was very casual drag. It looked like she would wear that at the mall or something.
The reason I loved it is because it was very burlesque to me, and I do a lot of burlesque, and so I could see where she was coming from with that aspect. So I really did like that.
I mean, I think it looked fine, but it just wasn't.
What did Ross say?
It's not on par with all her other stuff.
I think I see what you're doing. I think you do too.
And then Pearl came out, and she looked like Dee Snider. Like, straight up.
Pearl's hair was terrible. For one, if you're going to wear hair like that, for one, change it, because we know that's the same hair that you wore in the last challenge.
She wore that for the Joy Sisters, too.
Yeah, and she wore that in the music video.
I think she only has 3 wigs, and she
down.
put all 3 of them on.
I mean, it's clear there was a huge gap, and I would say her right side, because, you know, we're watching it on TV. And what bothered me also was the breastplate. It was very weird looking to me. Like, she's good with her breast contour, but I'm sorry, even with some severe breast contour, there was something off about that. Did you take some aluminum foil and spray paint it gold and stick it on your chest and be like, yes, this will work?
Pearl's always had the issue that her body never looks right. It's always just long and just very stiff. There's no padding whatsoever.
Remember Spaceballs? Joan Rivers was dot, and she just had those 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what it looked like.
It looked like the C-3PO version, the drag C-3PO or whatever.
Maybe she was paying homage to Joan Rivers.
Maybe.
It needs to be stated.
Probably should have said
though.
something. Yeah.
We need that stated, because it was terrible.
And then Rue did this weird thing where she pulled out pictures of everyone from when they were like 4 years old and told them to talk to themselves, clearly trying to get a bitch to cry. I don't know why Rue is trying to do this.
Because they didn't cry enough when they were eating Tic Tacs. I don't know.
I don't really remember anyone's story.
Ginger's was good.
Ginger came for everyone else.
I think Ginger did come for everyone else
When
during
they
the beginning,
asked them,
which
why should you win
was
instead of
not
your
really the
opponent?
question, but it was in a sense. But her ending was, I think, really hit home, and it was very good.
Talking about if you can supersize your French fries, let's supersize.
Yeah, supersize your drag superstar. Why not? We need a big girl to win. It's about time. And I'm a skinny bitch. I can say that.
No, you can't. I'm big. I could say it. You're supposed to be big to be able to make fun of big people.
I'm not making fun.
Just praising.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it was during this final little line of questioning
Speaking
that
of which, I want
the
some
very
supersized
professional Katie Davenport said that. How did she phrase it? I condone myself.
To being very professional.
Yes.
I was like Sharon Cleveland had a baby that just
So, just like last year, it's going to be...
I think that's what killed her, honestly. The whole speech was terrible.
Severely mentally retarded.
Retarded, yeah. No, ma'am. You can't... And then she's going to talk about representing the brand. There's no way. If you can't... First of all, if you don't know what the word condone means, you're not professional. You're an asshole. And then,
her Southern ghetto talk just...
Yeah, and then secondly, like... she said severely mentally retarded. Like, you cannot talk about representing RuPaul's brand.
And if you loved your sister that much, you would never use those words for her, because you know how sensitive those words are.
Right, like she clearly, I think, was just going to pull out the card and use it. It's like, I have a really socially awkward, nerdy older brother. If I was in a competition where that might do me some good, I'd be like, I love the shit out of that fat fucker, and I want all good things for him. But no.
Bad move, Kennedy.
Bad move.
Well, like last year, they did the final 4 queens lip syncing. And the song was Born Naked, and we already knew that.
Horrible song.
Yeah, well, the problem is most of the RuPaul songs suck, except for last year's was okay. The Sissy That Walk or whatever.
I mean, I will say, in Rue's defense, I think that this is the best album that RuPaul has had. I've downloaded the full album because you made me lip sync your song for my video. But my favorite on this album would be LBGT. And it's a great song. It's really fun and uplifting, but honestly, I feel like, I'm sure we'll hear that next season. You know how she constantly plugs her music. I have to give it to Rue because she is a businesswoman.
I know, but I kind of wish that it would stop because I think it was Response to Trinity. Once she tried to make that a thing, I was like, no, I can't. No.
But she's smart, though. She's drilling that music into our heads so we can't get it out and we want to download the music. So I give her credit for that. I did the same thing with my single, 10s and 20s, now available on iTunes and Google Play.
Yes, and I downloaded
every
it
single week at bingo. How many times do I say that
like
at
a
the
million,
show?
and I just
Exactly.
like a Pavlovian dog. I just downloaded it in the middle of drag bingo. So I was like, it must be the shit because I keep hearing that it's the shit. So,
And it was, wasn't it?
People
it
are
was
talking.
A great song.
yeah, people are talking. You should download it. It's a great song, and you should also tip your drag entertainers very, very well.
Well, I was excited for that lip sync because we were gonna get to see Violet do something because we've never really seen her lip sync. And
What did she do?
She did okay. Well, it's a bad song for anyone to do good in. But Pearl kept doing that same shit she kept doing. The Pearl Smash.
Yeah.
I think Violet could have done anything, and because she's won the most, she's never been in the bottom at all.
Right, which
She
is
probably
a
could have
huge
gotten
thing.
away,
Not
yeah.
very few queens made it through the entire season and never had to lip
I
sync
think Bianca
until
did.
this episode.
Bianca and Alaska.
Alaska, God.
Yeah, Alaska undeservedly.
Didn't Sharon as well?
No, Sharon lip synced with Fifi.
You're right.
But we were all
And I love
surprised.
Fifi. Shout out to Fifi.
We were all surprised. Well, she just got out of jail. We were all surprised that Rue goes, all right, I made my decision. And we all thought she was going to say, Pearl, get off the stage. I don't know why we kept you this long. And she just goes, Katie Davenport, I'm sorry. We're all super stoked about that. But
But
wow,
we
why is
realized
Pearl
that
in
you
the
are
top
socially
three?
retarded, so
Yeah.
we're going to let you go.
But do you think that condones Pearl being in the top three? Katya should definitely have
Katya
that
should have
spot.
been there.
Yeah, Katya was my favorite through the whole thing. I loved her and Ginger. They were my top two. And of course, you know, home alumni, Jaden Dior Fierce. I loved her as well, but it never works out when you're in your third lip sync. Like, no one has ever survived a third lip sync.
Especially when you have Tempest DeJour attached to your back.
Yeah.
I know. What do you do?
I love Tempest, but I imagine it's hard.
I love her too, but I would have amputated that bitch in 2.5 and got my lip sync on real quick.
Well, now that we have our top three, Ginger, Pearl, and Violet, we all are pretty much in agreement that Pearl can't win, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to win. Ginger or Violet?
Do you think that Pearl is going to kind of take away from Violet more so than Ginger? Like, Pearl being up there, any fans of hers are going to come from Violet's side, not Ginger's side.
I mean, anyone who's ever really watched the show, you never really know who is ultimately going to win the show because we all...
Except for Sharon and Bianca.
Right, but we have
Maybe
our
James.
ideas, and RuPaul lets us vote or whatever, but she's been very adamant on the fact that it's ultimately her decision to choose the winner.
No, she did All Stars just so that she could apologize to Chad Michaels and give her $100,000 for 6 episodes.
But you know that...
Sorry about that shit.
I love you, Rue, but this bitch, I feel like she's going to flip the script on us, and we're going to be ultimately shocked by whoever wins this season. I personally, from the top three, I want Ginger to win just because she's been consistent through the competition, even though she's been in the bottom.
About consistency, Violet is the most consistent.
She is the
Always
most consistent.
Looked great, never once looked bad.
And I was pro Violet for so long, but being a skinny bitch, I'm ready for a big girl to actually have the chance to win it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big girl's turn.
Who was the last in the top three? Roxy, I guess.
Last
Yeah,
year
but
Roxy-
Roxy
now,
wasn't even,
Roxy
you know,
wasn't
big
that big
girl.
during
She
the
was
contest.
thick.
When they got to the final three,
Thick
she
and
was
juicy, as
she
my
was
girl
a big
liked
girl.
to say.
She was a big girl in the final three. I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't think
At
she
the
wasn't, like,
reunion,
huge,
at the
but
reunion,
just
she was.
thicker.
She regained about 50 pounds before the reunion.
But she went from Continental Plus to Continental. So.
Well, let's discuss. Do you think that have y'all? I think everyone's heard now that Violet's porno has surfaced. She did a.
Oh, if anything, it's going to be more
You
fans.
guys showed me a little sneak peek of that, and we realized why her tuck is so tight, because that monster is so big.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Katya won Media's tuck after looking at that, but
Well, I've explained to you guys, when it's bigger, you can tuck a lot better, because you can pull that bitch a lot further back than, you know, they can do with some little bitty nub.
well,
Moving on.
well, actually, Violet
hurts.
Violet responded to it just saying, "Okay, yeah, that's out there. It's cool, whatever."
Just make sure you download it on iTunes.
Yeah. So, and so far there hasn't really been a big backlash against it. So maybe.
But I mean, how many Drag Race stars have we seen in pornos? There's
Jade,
been tons.
Unfortunately, detox. Unfortunately, detox.
There's been tons. And who knows which ones we haven't even found yet.
Well,
you know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
a lot of has anyone seen that video where Alaska and Sharon give each other blowjobs on stage in Australia?
What?
It's out there. It was during some weird tour.
Well, I hope they got paid extra for that. I'm just saying.
Someone recorded on their phone and they're on stage blowing each other.
Can I just say something? You knew that existed. Steven, did you know that existed?
Which one?
The blowjobs on stage?
No.
Okay, Brandon, it says a lot to me about our friendship that you didn't send that to me, so fuck you.
I saw that on a message board not too long ago, and I was like, what? And I didn't think it was real. And I looked at it,
He
was
was
like,
the audience. He was the audience member that filmed it. He just didn't want you know he was out of town.
That time.
Well, that just makes you a terrible friend to me that you didn't send me that.
So it's just clear that I don't think RuPaul seems to care if you're putting dicks in your mouth. And, well, obviously not.
I mean, let's be honest. Ruth had to put a dick in her mouth at some point. I mean, she's a drag queen.
But I mean, before it used to be you're representing the brand, so they didn't want. Well, that was Absolute, I think, that was really a stickler for who represents the brand. But Absolute dropped them, so I guess Ruth can just choose anyone she wants.
Yep.
Final guess.
Who's taking home the crown?
Amy.
Violet.
Paige.
Who I think is going to win? I think Violet will win.
Do you want Violet to win?
In a sense, yes. But I also, like I said, I want a big girl to win, so I would love Ginger to win.
I would love for Ginger to win too, but I think Violet's going to do it.
I also think Violet. Since episode 1, I said Violet. So I think we're all pretty much in agreement that Violet's probably going to win.
Well, from here, we have another Twitter question from Susan from Wisconsin.
All right.
And she must have known that you were going to be here, Paige.
Oh, she did.
What made you want to get into drag?
I went to bars and I was actually never interested in drag at first, and then I saw, ironically, Princess. I hate to say this now because you haven't been nice to me, Princess, but I still love you. And she really, showed me a new interpretation of drag because she did something different. She was very faux drag back then, before RuPaul's Drag Race. Bald head, white face. Right. It was so different. It was kind of like performance art to me. So that kind of inspired me. Another person that inspired me was Sarah Andrews because she was beautiful, fishy. I was like, oh my God, that's a real girl.
What was her thing? The Sweet
Sensation. Sarah Andrews. She always was so sweet, it gave me a toothache. And I loved her so much. So I always looked up to her. And those are two people that really inspired me to do drag. But ultimately, I saw Bianca Paige here in Nashville. And that's what really set the bar to me and pushed it to a whole nother level. I was like, this bitch is amazing. And she always talked like this, and that really made me feel like, oh my God, you're great.
We went to Lucky's back when it was Miss Lucky's so much. And some of my friends have never seen a drag show before, and they were all excited. And we sit down, and I don't remember the name of it wasn't Sarah. Summer Alexander came out. And so she was doing her drag, and everybody's just kind of looking at each other like, is this a drag show? And then I was like, no, just wait. And then 100% Pure Love started playing, and out came Bianca, and they were like, oh! I'm like, this is awesome, this is fun.
Bianca was a true legend for our community as far as drag goes, as far as the gay community goes, because she not only did work for the drag aspect, but she worked hard for the gay community, and that's what always made me look up to her, because she lived with HIV, and she always did so much work and had the Bianca Paige Foundation, and that was so inspiring to me. And it made me realize, you can do something for the community and still do something that you love at the same time. And
she was the original drag queen bingo host, correct?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I was honored to actually take her place. So.
My old landlord was Thomas Prunier, who was Anastasia Beaverhausen. So he did it for a while, and we went.
I love Anastasia. She's a good person.
Anastasia's, I think Anastasia's dead, but Thomas is still alive.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Thomas is one of my besties.
Yeah.
So I love you, and I'll make sure to tell him that we talked about him and how
I
wonderful
would,
he is.
yeah, I wouldn't say Anastasia's dead. She comes out, when she needs to. But
She's making
when
an
she's
appearance at Nolly's bat mitzvah. I know that.
she's a great queen.
She's
too.
like Batman.
Like-
She just comes. She just comes out when needed.
Yeah, that's what I wish that so many new generation people saw in like the old generation queens, where they all look up to these RuPaul's Drag Race stars when there was an aspect where
There's a star in your hometown right now.
there was
that you're
drag
not
way
noticing.
before that, and there's these people who paid in their bloodshed pretty much for us to be able to do what we do today, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So Bianca Paige was huge inspiration to me, and that's the person that really inspired me. Like, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna be like her.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Amy. Same question.
What got me into drag? Well, let me see. Let's see. What got me into drag? Well, I was a.
Oh, those are real, honey.
Yeah, these boobs are real, but that's about the only thing. Like, my nails are fake, my lashes are fake, my personality and my tits are real as shit. But other than that, yeah, I just really like the over the top drag aesthetic. That's why I walk around in day drag all the time. Daytime drag. Yeah, I love it. I like being a painted lady.
But anyway, yeah, thank you so much, Amy Sulam and Paige Turner being here.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're very flattered you were here. It'll be Tuesday when you hear this, so tonight, head over to Drag Bingo, Mad Donna's, 8:30.
So now I have to make it happen now.
Yep.
True that. No cover, 2-for-1 Mad Teas and Mad Burritos. Come get drunk with me and win some prizes.
Prizes. Win some condoms. That's my favorite prize.
Yeah, we have
Drag
condoms, we have dildos, we have everything. It's provided by the Lion's Den, which is awesome. They've been great sponsors for us, so come out, have fun, get some sex toys.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Everything BS. Signing off, RuPaul Drag Race Season 7, Episode 12.
And the rest is a drag.
All right.